as day traders and scalpers, isn't it great when we find those stocks that just rip up in the market open, like this one here, CLIR? Looks like, let's see, it opened around $1.66, and less than an hour later, it's at 250. I actually didn't trade this, but I kind of wish I did. But anyway, this video is about how to use the screener in Webull to find stocks that have a higher probability of running up in the market open. This isn't a guarantee thing, but this is kind of a standard way to do it. So you're looking for stocks that gap up overnight. Sometimes it happens on stocks that gap down and then market open they rip up, but I think starting with a gap up and then seeing how things play out at market open is a good place to start, at least. So what do I mean by gap up? Look over here from the day before. Let's see what the market close was at 4 p.m. Closed at 79 cents, and then in the after hours trading, this is at 4:11. It closed at $3.35, so more than 300%, about 322%. So that's the definition of a gap up stock. It traded much higher in the after hours. Sometimes this happens right after the stock market closes, or it happens throughout the evening or early morning hours. So anyway, here's how you set up a screener to find those. And this is just for Webull. So go to the left and click on screener. And I've already got some set up like this. And this is in the middle of the day. It's about 11:25 a.m. So there's a couple things that I guess throughout the day Webull changes on the screen. And then when you go back into kind of the overnight or early morning hours before market open, there'll be some changes, and I'll just point those out. Unfortunately, I can't show them to you exactly because it's in the middle of the trade day. But anyway, so this is my, I just call the screener pre-market low float. If you don't know what a low float stock is, just look it up. But anyway, these are like lower price stocks, and I've had this set up to find the lower price stocks that gap up overnight. I'll show you how I set that up right now. So, so when you open the screener up, you're probably going to be right on this page where you see screener highlighted. This is in the United States, so I just like to keep that setting there. These are set to all. And the quotes indicator, since this is a low float stock category, I have it set to 0 up to 0.2 billion, which is 200 million. And then the price, I have the price set from $1 to $20 stocks. You can play around with that a little bit, but it's kind of arbitrary. These are the lower price stocks. The important thing is coming up in a little bit. The percent change, I have it set from 2% to the maximum. This kind of changes throughout the day or night, you'll notice. So like right now, it looks like the maximum is actually 200.95%. And here you see kind of like a previous high. So if I play with this right now, you see it stop at the current high. So anyway, you might have to play with that as you're using the screener throughout the day or in the pre-market hours. Now the volume setting, I have it set for 300,000 to the max. This is just to make sure that there's liquidity in the stock. So if you buy a bunch of shares, that you're going to be able to sell them. One thing I want to say is that this is the pre-market low float scanner, my pre-market low float scanner. That doesn't mean I use it to trade during pre-market. I just use it to see what happened in the pre-market so that I know if I want to trade it as soon as the market opens. Okay, so those are the basic parameters that you want to have set up. Now, once you have those set up, let's say you did that and you saved it, name it whatever you want. I'm going to go back to that screener. Let me just go to another one just to go to it so you can see the changes. Okay, now it shows, oh my God, we've got 89 stocks to look through. That's crazy. But really, those parameters that we set up, that's just the beginning. And this took me a little while to figure out. But the important thing is to go over here, and you see where it says percent change. in the early morning hours in the pre-market, it'll actually have a tab here that says pre-market, and in that time, that's what you're going to be looking at. But it essentially does the same thing as this percent change. This is here just because it's in the middle of the trade day. In the early market hours, it will say pre-market, and that's the button you'll click. But so just pretend this says pre-market. It's going to have a percent thing like that as well, or at least percents will show up here in this column. So this is really the crux of this screening trick, is you click here, and the first click it did exactly what I wanted, but you'll see it clicks through like 3 different things, kind of like changing the percent change from high to low, low to high, and so on. But essentially what you want to know is which ones have the highest percentage of change. And for me, I'm generally only interested in like 10% or more of a pre-market change. Now this is intraday market. It's 11:30 a.m. So you're seeing a ton of stocks. But this morning, when I looked and I clicked this pre-market percent change, I think I had maybe 5 or 6 stocks that were in the range of 10% up of percent change. So anyway, it makes it very easy to boil it down to just a few stocks. And once you have them chosen, you can click on the stock right here. Let's say we want to look at that one, and then it pulls up on this kind of stock screener that Webull has. And that was the one that we started the video on. Huge pre-market gap. And then so what you want to do is watch it for, I'm not going to really give out trading advice in this video. This is really about the screener, but you're just going to look for it. What's it going to do when the market opens? Don't just trade it just because it popped up on the screener, or buy it right away for no reason. Make sure you know what you're getting into. So that was my pre-market low float, and I have my intraday low float, which is essentially the exact same screener, except for the volume is set a little bit higher, not that much, but just because in the pre-market hours you're not expecting a lot of volume. And I just happen to have the percent change set a little higher, so I'm not wasting time looking at stocks that aren't really moving. In the pre-market, they may not move quite as much, but during the day they should be moving. If these are the ones that you're looking to trade, if you're a day trader or a scalper, you want to trade stocks that move. So I'm going to go back to my screeners, and these are really the only screeners that I use right now. I have been tweaking them a little bit, but they seem to work pretty well here. Some things you might want to adjust is like your price range and things like that to fit your account and your risk management style. So anyway, since there wasn't much information online about using the Webull screener, I decided to make this video, and I hope it was helpful.